Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're breaking down 3 truly terrifying real-life accounts that prove just how fast, mundane, everyday interactions can spiral into absolute waking nightmares. We're going to examine the anatomy of a stalker, analyzing exactly how these situations escalate, and crucially, what we can all learn from them to stay safe.
3 ordinary days, 3 terrifying realizations, 3 true stories of being watched. You know, these 3 accounts are a harsh reminder that real danger doesn't always announce itself with some loud crash or a dramatic confrontation. No, more often than not, it just kind of creeps in through a dropped coin, a late-night drive on autopilot, or even just a slightly open door. Let's trace the exact moments when these victims realized they were no longer alone.
Account number 1. The Bagel Shop Stalker.
This first digital invasion kicks off on a completely normal, sunny summer morning at a local mom-and-pop bagel shop. A 21-year-old student who's just home from college drops her coins while trying to pay. A 24-year-old employee rushes around the counter to help her out. It's totally harmless, right? They even had a perfectly pleasant brief chat about a rugby injury on his finger. But that innocent physical interaction literally transformed into a digital invasion in a matter of hours. By that very afternoon, he had tracked down her public Instagram. And keep in mind, she never even gave him her name.
From there, the escalation was just rapid and honestly terrifying. First, the follows and the DMs. He messaged her saying he just couldn't stop thinking about her. Naturally, she felt pretty uneasy about this. I mean, the guy worked a quick 10 minutes from her house, so she blocked him. Smart move. But he immediately spun up completely new accounts. He started spam liking her post, commenting on her appearance, and angrily demanding her attention. The digital boundary she tried to set, completely ignored.
Over 100. That is the staggering volume of notifications she found on her phone after just a brief 5-minute break during a theater rehearsal. Over 100. And this wasn't just on Instagram anymore. Oh no. He had hunted down her Snapchat, her TikTok, spam-liking videos from literally years prior, and even mentioned seeing her on the dating app Hinge. He was casting this massive digital net just to corner her.
But then, the digital threat breached the physical world. After finishing her rehearsal around 10 p.m., she walked out and spotted a shadow hovering right near her car. Terrified, she ran back inside and grabbed her stage manager, Finn, to walk her out. As they crept up to her car in this dark parking lot, she found horrifying tactile evidence. 2 distinct handprints on her driver's side window. The stalker had been hovering right at her glass.
Now you're probably thinking, how on earth did he even find her theater? Well, this hindsight realization is an absolute warning for all of us. She realized, with just pure dread, that an Instagram story gave away the theater address. It was a totally innocuous repost of a cast announcement, but it gave this obsessive stranger her exact real-world location for the entire week. In an instant, her digital vulnerability completely compromised her physical safety.
Despite her constantly changing routines and altering her routes home, this guy escalated even further. He actually left a bouquet of flowers at the theater. He tricked a newly hired box office worker into letting him inside by claiming to be her boyfriend. Then he left a chilling note stating she didn't need the stage manager to walk her to her car because, and I quote, "You have me." And worst of all, he bought tickets for the entire run of the show before the theater finally stepped in and banned him.
Let's move on to story number 2, The Midnight Shadow.
This one takes us to Northern Ireland in 2018, where the threat is purely visceral right from the jump. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. A woman is driving home on autopilot after visiting a friend. As she turns toward her street, her headlights wash over a terrifying sight. There's a figure dressed entirely in black, wearing black leather gloves, standing perfectly motionless directly outside the local pharmacy doors. As she drives past, the man slowly turns his head, tracking her car while actively covering his face.
What happens next is this terrifying clash between panic and logic. Her immediate instinct, her basic panic response, was to just speed up a bit and pull safely into her own driveway to escape his gaze. Makes sense, right? But then the terrifying hindsight immediately kicks in. By pulling into her driveway and rushing to her front door, she realized she had just shown this suspicious masked watcher her exact home address.
But she's exhausted. So she brushes off the encounter as just a harmless scare, goes into her front-facing bedroom, leaves her window slightly open like she usually does, and goes to sleep. Fast forward to 3:30 a.m. Pitch black. She is suddenly jolted out of a deep sleep. She just lies there in the silence until she hears it. A faint, casual, slow humming, coming from maybe a few feet away.
right outside her slightly open window.
Trapped in her room, absolutely shaking with fear, she slowly pulls back the blinds. And she sees an absolute nightmare. The man from the pharmacy hadn't left. He had watched her pull into her driveway, tracked her bedroom lights, and now he was standing directly outside her window. He still had those leather-gloved hands over his face, but he had spread his fingers slightly. She could see one of his eyes peeking through the gap in his hands, staring right at her, and he was smiling. She obviously screamed and called emergency services immediately.
For our third and final act, the maintenance worker.
This one is the ultimate violation of a safe space. It starts when a 19-year-old moves into her very first affordable, independent apartment to get out of a bad roommate situation. For the first few months, it's just a normal routine. Work, home, taking out the trash. But the eerie atmosphere starts to build when she comes home from work one day and feels like the energy in the room is just wrong. The warning sign? She walks upstairs to find large, man-sized, muddy footprints trailing right across her living room carpet and into her kitchen. Yet, when she calls the leasing office to check, they confirm absolutely no maintenance workers were scheduled to be there.
This physical intrusion quickly morphed into straight-up psychological gaslighting. Weird things started happening. The heat was cranked to the maximum setting. A sealed water jug was found opened and half empty. But when she confided in her friends about this, they called her paranoid. They convinced her she was just being forgetful, which actually made her question her own sanity. That is, until she arrived home late one night at 11 p.m. to find her apartment door cracked open.
Refusing to be a victim of her own self-doubt, she invented a brilliant method to test her theory. Step 1. Place a piece of clear tape on the bottom of the door. Step 2. Leave for a short errand. Step 3. Check if the tape is unstuck. Whether she went to work or just walked down the street to the complex's dumpsters, the tape was unstuck or moved every single time she returned. This proved definitively that someone was entering her home the second she stepped away.
Then came the vindication. Ironically, when her gaming system and electronics were eventually stolen, it was a massive relief for her. I know it sounds crazy, but stolen electronics finally provided undeniable proof of an intruder. It was the tangible paper trail she desperately needed to show her dismissive friends and the police that she wasn't crazy. Someone really was coming into her home.
But the full mystery wasn't actually solved until 4 years later. A chance encounter with a new worker at the complex revealed the horrifying truth. The intruder was a former maintenance worker who had recently been arrested for breaking into women's apartments. And the reason he always knew exactly when she was leaving, even if it was just to check the mail? Quote, he lived right across the street. Our doors faced each other. He was just 50 feet away. He had been watching her every single move.
Section 4. Trusting your instincts.
So, what does this all mean for us? The crucial point we have to extract from these 3 terrifying accounts is how we can apply these hard-learned lessons to our own lives, right? Situational awareness is absolutely paramount. First, delay posting real-time locations on social media. Never broadcast exactly where you are. Second, secure your physical boundaries and always double-check your locks, including that slightly open bedroom window. Third, create a paper trail with the police, even if it's just on a suspicion. And finally, above all else, never let others dismiss your reality or gaslight you into ignoring your gut feeling.
We all go through life on autopilot, trusting our safe spaces, assuming that a dropped coin or an open door is just a bizarre coincidence. Better safe than sorry is a cliché for a reason. So, I'll leave you with this question. If a shadow fell across your daily routine today, would you really notice it before it was too late? Are you truly paying attention to the subtle warnings in your own life? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay observant, and please, stay safe out there.